In this video, I'm going to talk about Facebook analytics versus the Facebook reporting. Okay, so you're probably thinking, what's the difference, right? And what does one provide that the other doesn't? Okay, so I'm actually in the Facebook reporting right now, as you can see, for a live account. And I would say that the Facebook report itself is a day-to-day analysis of your ads. Okay, that's what you're going to see in the reporting. You're going to see metrics that are relevant to the ad in terms of the CPM, the cost per impressions, the reach, the budget, cost per result, whether that's a purchase or an event or a lead, whatever it is you're tracking on your campaign, and it will give you obviously the amount spent. You can see here we're tracking ROAS, return on ad spend, add to carts, website checkout initiated, also purchase conversion value, that kind of stuff. Okay, so this is more kind of day-to-day management of what you're doing. Okay, and something that's important in terms of how the Facebook reporting works is, because I'm mostly doing conversion ads on this account. Okay, if I wanted to find out what a typical ad campaign was doing, I could break that down. Okay, so let me just select one. In fact, let me select this one. Okay, this one's got 2,000 purchases. So let's go to the ads, sort by the number of purchases, because that's what I'm doing. And then we can click on breakdown. Okay, so this is a very important section of the reporting, in my opinion, because this will help you break down and analyze how your reports are doing. Okay, so let me give you an example of that. So let's say, for example, I wanted to know the age and gender of these purchases. Okay, because this is a retargeting campaign. It's actually a dynamic product ad, and I just let Facebook optimize it by itself, right? Like, we don't use any parameters, or we don't specify that it needs to be on a specific platform or placement. We just let Facebook optimize because it's using warm audiences. Okay, so because I'm sorting down by website purchases, I'm going high to low, right? So this is going to tell me some key important metrics for my campaign. Okay, the first one is the number of purchases. Second one is the ROAS, so the return on ad spend, and this one here, okay, the actual breakdown of the demographics. Okay, so you can see here that for this particular ad, what am I looking for? Okay, yeah, here. So yeah, so it's got 83 conversion hits for the 55 to 64 female demographic. Okay, so this basically gives me the option to split test this particular demographic. Okay, so I could actually duplicate this ad and run it to this specific demo. Okay, this one's interesting. So the next one down has 72 purchases, but look at the return on ad spend. Okay, so this is returning almost over six times as much. Okay, so it's spending $1,200 and it's returning like $7,800. Okay, so it's returning 6 times as much. Okay, so this will be a very useful split test. Okay, so I might want to split test the 25 to 34 female bracket. Okay, run it with this, run it against the broad existing campaign, and run it as a separate campaign by itself. Okay, you can do the same for the next demographic. So it's typically mostly female because it is a female brand, but we do have some male sales here. Not much. It is mostly, like I said, a female brand. Okay, so and then you can look at the other ages. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. The other way you can do it is look at ROAS. Okay, so sort by high ROAS and then go down. Okay, so look at this one. This one has spent 14 cents and it's made $147. Okay, so that's a ROAS of 1,049. Okay, almost 1,050 ROAS is returned that much. Okay, so that's obviously insane, but bear in mind it's only got one purchase, and it's only delivered 21 impressions, so it's not really statistically significant. Okay, also we don't really know if it's male or female. It's probably going to be a female, but we're not 100% sure. Okay, the next thing you want to look at is look at the next just keep going down it, and obviously have a look at the best performing ads. Okay, and then that's a potential candidate for a separate test, a split test. Okay, now this is obviously sorted by ROAS. If your campaign, you're monitoring leads or cost per leads or whatever it is. For this one, we're tracking cost per purchase, okay? Because we want to know how much each transaction will cost, right? Like how much are we paying Facebook ads for each sale? Okay, so ours is purchase. It could be cost per engagement if that's what you're tracking. It could be cost per click. It could be cost per lead, opt-in, event sign up. It could be anything you want it to be, okay? Based on your campaign objectives. So that's one thing to look at. Something else I like to look at as well is, I don't know if it's on this one. I need to go to campaigns. I think it's on this view. I'm not sure. Let me just go back to this one. I'll just use one of the other saved reports. So something else that I like to look at is link clicks, okay? Because we use a lot of link post ads. So it'll be interesting to see, sort by link clicks high to low, and then see which ages are the most responsive. Okay, so this one here has almost 3,000 link clicks, 69 purchases, okay, and a decent cost per result of $20, okay, and 21 cents. So that's another way of you utilizing and breaking down your reports, okay. Let's head over to the actual analytics inside of Facebook. So I've got an example here of a funnel that I was creating for another video, and how you can monitor each steps and kind of identify and see like a bird's eye view of your business. Okay, so have a look at the funnels video. I do go over it in a lot of detail. Okay, the first one the first tab I want to click on is active users. So this is set to the last 90 days, and what this allows you to do is you can see like active users on any particular day. Okay, so you can see July was kind of quiet for us, but then it kind of peaked. Sessions is obviously important. So if you have a blog or something like that, you want to monitor how long people spend on each page or blog article. That's obviously important. Another one that's here, but not as important because obviously you have this information inside of the Facebook reporting, but you can see the splits in terms of age and gender. Okay, so like I said, the majority for my example is going to be female because it's a female brand. Okay, the next one I want to look at is revenue. So we can look at total revenue, total purchases, unique purchases, that kind of stuff. So in the last 90 days, this particular brand has done $111,000. Okay, and this gives you the average revenue per purchase. Okay, so it's a little bit lower than our yearly average. So we typically saw a dip over the summer. It could be seasonal. We just don't know. We're expecting a bigger kind of push in the fourth quarter in the holiday season. So expect that to be a lot higher. The revenue per paying user, obviously that's there. And you can see that a nice graph here. You can break that down per day. Okay. The number of purchases is obviously a metric as well. I don't think it's not necessarily the most important metric, but it's there. You can kind of monitor that over a particular time. And again, you have the age gender breakdown. Okay, so you can see that nearly every day of the last 90 days, in fact, probably the unknowns, there aren't any male buyers. Okay, so that's important. Okay, a funnel has already created a video for. Let's have a look at retention. So user retention is broken down here. So you can see in terms of the user weighted average. Okay, so this is like cohort information, but have a look at this breakdown. Okay, so what is this telling you? Okay, so this is telling you this is a chart on weekly retention from 0 to 12 weeks, and then you have the dates on the left column, and then you have the number of users. Okay, so this is like a sales cycle. So as you go further down the cycle, the retention is less. Okay, And this is obviously kind of useful for retargeting campaigns. For example, you can retarget for people who saw your page, after like 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, etc. And you can retarget them. Okay. You can also exclude, let's say you want to exclude people who saw an ad 3 days ago, but haven't seen it for, after 7 days, for example. If there's an offer, a particular offer you're doing, then information would help you on that. Okay. You have the cohort section. You need to create a cohort for this. So this is how like users behave over a period of time. Any particular branch of users. So again, you can see very similar information as retention. You've got a few events here, so you can do news activity. You can do, let's do add to cart versus initiate checkout, because I like that one. That's obviously a very good one for me, because this is an e-commerce store, and this will obviously break down the weekly average. Okay, so have a play around with that. Breakdowns. So you can set up pivot table of your data. Don't really use this much, but let's try add to carts versus age. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. So don't really use this one much because we have it inside of the funnels, but you can break it down. So this will tell you for this particular account that we have the 55 to 64-year-old age range has the most add to carts. Okay, and this is the total value of their sales. Okay, so it's a big chunk of revenue over the last 90 days is this demographic. Okay, so this might help me to run a particular offer for this demographic or this demographic, and you can use this to do the same for you. Okay, so this is add to cart because it's an e-commerce store, but you're gonna have a lot of events in here, such as leads, registrations, event signups. Page views is obviously a good one if you've got, if you're on a blog post or service of some type. Okay, and the next one is journeys. So you can select a particular event and see how it does over 7 days or 10 days or whatever. Okay, so we're going to use, for this one, we'll use, okay, purchases. Okay, and then we'll do 28 days. Save the settings. Let's see what that comes up with. Okay, so I might have to come back to this one. But you'll see like a sales journey once that's loaded. Okay, the next one is percentiles. So wait for that to load, but you can see information of page views, right? So let's have a look here. So this would be, let's grab any of these. So your top 2% of users viewed page on average of 55 times or more. Okay. So this information will be useful for building custom audiences. So if you've got a specific type of, top 5%, 10%, whatever, you build an audience for them and then run special offers, events, run ads to them. You can have specific ad copy. There's a lot of opportunity with this. Okay. So this one says purchases. So your top 1% of users spent on average $515 or more. Okay, so that's quite interesting. Again, because it's an e-commerce store, I can actually export that information out, and I can build like a top 1% of users. Or I could export this and say, export a list of orders that are $500 or more. Okay, so that's obviously very useful. Events. This might take a while to load because there's quite a few events, but let's see if there's anything it's doing. Okay, so this will just tell you event information from the pixel. You can actually see this inside the pixels as well. If you go to all tools, pixels, kind of gives you a similar type of data. Okay, and then overlap. Wait for that to load. Some of these do need loading. Okay, so let's see if journey is done. Doesn't look like it. Still processing this, but let's go to overlap. Might have the same issue here. If it's so we can do add to carts via channels, for example. Okay, so I want to see where which traffic source is bringing the bulk of my add to carts. Okay, this is useful information because if you're running broad ads to auto placements, you can see where the traffic is coming from. Okay. And then you can potentially run a separate ad or campaign just to that traffic source, okay, if it's giving the best results. So, and you can do that for browsers, browser versions, devices, device types, models, that kind of stuff, languages, whatever. Okay. And what you'll find with specifically with Facebook ads is that certain devices, and I mentioned this in a previous video, certain devices will convert better than others. Okay, for different types of offers. So, and the last one I want to cover on this is lifetime value. Before I wrap up this video. So you can see, again, it's more kind of cohort information. This is weekly lifetime value. Okay, so this is quite interesting actually, because this tells me for any specific date, right? Okay, look, so this is saying that this cohort purchased $4.4 per person. Okay, so $5,270 in total 5 weeks later. So effectively what this is saying is that after we run ads to cold audiences, people who've never seen the brand or engaged with the brand, they will buy, and they'll buy on average $2.47 for this particular week. But as they see the ads and we run retargeting, the actual purchase per person goes up. Look, as you can see, it's going up week by week. So that's quite interesting. Okay, so we can run longer sales cycles. We can build audiences of, so we can go back even further. So we can go to 100, 180 days, 365 days, because this is telling us that this cohort is telling us that these users, these customers are worth more as the weeks go up. Okay, and that's basically it from this video. There is obviously a lot to cover in this section, but just dive right in. Literally with analytics, just click, set up your reports, set up your funnels, your revenue, your active users, and overlap, each of the metrics to find out, to give you a kind of broader picture. Okay. Have a look at the funnels video as well, the analytics funnel video, where I discuss the funnel steps in a bit more detail, and I'll see you on the next video.